So this is the finished penguin. Keep watching if you'd like to see how I did it. To do this, you'll need, first, a clean rock, some black paint, white paint, various brush sizes, a large dotting tool, a small dotting tool, a pencil, something to mix your paint on, and some water to rinse the brushes. Start off by painting about 3 coats of white paint onto the rock. Now come back when you're done this step. To speed up drying time, you can use a hairdryer. Now it's time to draw on the design. I'm starting with the face. You'll notice in a second that I drew on the beak. Now just skip this step because I wasn't thinking. We're going to be painting over this anyway. So that's how it should look so far. Now let's start painting the black on. You don't need to be overly concerned with straight lines. You actually don't want a hard straight edge. As you can probably see, I kind of fluffed it out with the brush a little bit. Now just outline the rest of the face. I switched to a larger brush to fill in the rest just to make the process a little bit faster. Now it's time for the eyes. Take the large dotting tool and load it up with paint. If you don't have a dotting tool, you can use the end of a brush. Now just dot those right on. Here's what it should look like. Now I'm just mixing up the next color, a light gray. Take a very little bit of black and mix it in. If you want it lighter, just add more white. We're going to be using this for the wings. If you notice, I switched to a thin striper brush for this. It makes it a lot easier to get nice thin lines. Go slow and use your pinky as a balance point on the table or whatever surface you're using. Remember, if I'm going too fast on any step, you can pause it and resume it when you're finished that step. That's what it should look like so far. Using some of the gray we already made, add a little bit of black and mix. We're going to be using this to outline the wing to give it some dimension. Make sure to not cover up the gray that we already put down. It just needs to be layered. It should look something like this. Now with the same gray color we just used, create small vertical lines on the chest for feathers. Also put some of these lines on the wings. Here's a close-up so you can see what I did. Now take the light gray we made and go back with some more vertical lines. Using the light gray and adding some more black to it, make an even darker gray than we had before. Use this to outline the face. Once you've finished that, go back with the same color and create little lines around the outline you just made in a sort of half circle above the eyes. It's little details like this that really add to the finished product. It should now look something like that. Use the same gray color again. You are now going to be creating little lines sort of attaching the white to the black in little strokes. Don't worry about blending this out, we'll be coming back to it. Now let's paint the little feathers on the head, using the darker gray color we made. It should look kind of like a little paint fountain coming up from where the beak will be. Try to curve your brush strokes around the face like I'm doing here. Here's a close-up of how it should look. Now go back with the light gray and do the same thing. So here's a close-up of what we've done so far. Alright, now it's time for the beak. At first it's going to kind of look like a big blob of white paint, but we're going to be going back in to put definition with the dark gray and the black in a second. Using the dark gray we already made, outline the beak and the surrounding areas. Now use the black and go over what you just did, but be sure not to cover up the gray completely. You want it to look layered. Here's a close-up shot of the finished beak. Remember how I said we'd be blending this part out? Well, using your black, do small vertical lines to blend the white and the gray together. Again, be very careful not to completely cover over what we did before. It should look layered. And I apologize for this shot not being centered. Almost finished. Now using the small dotting tool, or a small brush handle end, put a drop of white paint to create a reflection in the eye. And now we're finished. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. Feel free to comment and suggest other tutorials you'd like me to do. Thanks for watching.